Good morning. My name is Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover. I can't do this today. Sorry. Good morning. Discover, understand, overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. As always, right? Head over to queenbeing.com if you have any need for support for narcissistic abuse recovery. I suddenly got the realization that I'm talking to a camera. That's funny. Okay, so this is a good time to start the topic of self-care, right? You like the new thumbnail? Thank you. Okay, what is it? Oh, the purple one? Thank you. All right, hey, Karina, and it's just Laura. Hi, you guys. All right, so self-care, what is it? How can we start using it? Why is it so important? Why people keep saying that's what you need to do when you're trying to recover from narcissistic abuse or any abuse of any kind, or just because life is hard and we got to move through it and hopefully take care of ourselves. Like, how can we be happy? What is this self-care? Well, self-care to me is not a one-time event that you do to make yourself feel better for the moment. It can be part of it, right? Like going and getting a manicure, pedicure, whatever. That's the typical thing people think of. Or I had jokes, one client in coaching, they had really no self-care going on at all. And I said, okay, what are you doing for self-care? And they laughed at me and they said, don't tell me to buy lotion. I'm not going to. I promise you don't ever have to buy lotion. But really, that's what we think of, right? So we'll talk about that in a second and what it is. First, if you have not hit subscribe to this channel, please do, and hit the thumbs up if you enjoy it. Also, if you would like text notifications of my going live, text me at 33222, put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, hit send, and I will text you about 10 minutes prior to going live. That's the only text I send. And that's it. Self-care right now can be kind of important because of the holidays coming up. If you're in America, then the holidays this week, right? Kicking off the season of people feeling pretty bad, sadly, right? It's not an easy time for a lot of survivors of abuse. So it's a good time to start considering where your self-care lies and how you function with it and what you're actually doing to help yourself. Because this work of healing from toxic abuse is not a passive work. It isn't time heals all wounds. It doesn't go away usually just on its own. It takes some active participation from the survivor to better their own life and to create the life that they want. Self-care is a huge part of it. So self-care is bringing care and intention and positivity towards yourself. What did I write here? I'm just going to read it as I wrote it. That can mean including that intention of positivity, intention of care, intention of knowing what it is you want for yourself in the things you're already doing for yourself in life. All right. So a lot of people will tell me, I don't have time for self-care. I'm a working parent. I'm a single parent. I work. I've got literally no time for myself. Well, you're already doing stuff for yourself. And my guess is you're not paying any attention to the things you're doing. Well, I don't know. Maybe you are. But a lot of people don't pay attention to the things that they're doing and add an ounce of positivity and bringing an intention for oneself. And when I say that, what I mean is, what do you want? What do you want to draw into your life? What kind of feelings, what kind of experiences, what are you wanting to draw in? Are you wanting to draw in curiosity or joy or calm or peace? Or, you know what I'm saying? You're getting what I mean here. Those kind of things can be an intention for your life, a wish for yourself, right? And you can bring those into the moments of your life that you're already doing. You're already brushing your teeth. Why are you sitting there thinking negative thoughts? Why are you looking in the mirror at your own face thinking bad things? That's not self-care. Bringing a positive intention toward oneself when you're already doing the thing that you're going to do anyway for yourself. It combines the act of what you're doing, brushing your teeth, which is self-care to begin with, right? It combines that with an intention of positivity towards yourself. So you're not becoming your own abuser on the inside. You're becoming your best friend and your major support system, which is what we need to be. We have to have our own backs through this. It's the way out. It's the way through. Okay. So, to me, it is not one thing. It's ongoing, and it is a lifestyle. It's a shift of lifestyle for a lot of people. It's a lifestyle that includes self in the equation of what's going on, right? A lot of times self-care, people just completely don't pay attention to themselves, and they do things for other people all the time. So let's get started with some things people have struggled with before I give you a list of self-care ideas. You guys are really quiet today. Talk to me. What's going on with you with self-care? Those of you in chat, how do you approach it? Where do you need help? What can you offer to help other people? Do you think it's important, or is this just silly? Like, what do you guys think? Tell me what you're thinking in chat while I am reading this. So somebody was saying that they struggle in every form of self-care. Their focus is to provide care and educate their children. So much so they forget to eat. Okay. They wear sandals in the winter to provide better for their children. It's not that they don't feel worthy of self-care. It's that everything and everyone else must be the focus. After 45 years of abuse. Yeah. Okay. Began with their father. Okay. So anyone hearing that can hear exactly for that other person what they would wish. I would wish for her, him, them I would wish for that person to be able to understand how important they are as well, and that they have needs and wants and wishes like everybody else, and those have value. And that their value, that the more, if their main focus and their main drive and their love, purpose they feel right now in their life is to care for their children, of course, then what's important there is that the person doing that, them, be as healthy and happy and fulfilled as they can, so that they have more to give. The more you have, the more self-care you're putting into yourself, the more energy and focus you have for other people. Does that make sense? So it can be difficult to shift that mindset in order to do things for yourself. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable, because what starts to come up is you might start realizing you might think, I know I deserve self-care. It's not that. Sometimes we are avoiding it by putting focus on other things so that we don't have to focus on ourselves. When we start focusing on ourselves, other stuff comes up. Then we got to deal with our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts. And there's a lot there. It's a lot easier to focus externally than it is to focus internally when you're in survival mode. So taking a step towards self-care when you are a person that focuses externally a lot, that only, I've had people in coaching that want to spend the whole time talking about other people, not in a gossipy way, but in a way of like, that's how they relate to self. That isn't self-care focused, because it's good to be able to compare things so that you have some way of relating stories and like how you feel based on how other, I'm saying, like, tell a story about something and then you can relate to that story. That's cool. But when it comes to focusing on self, that's a way of pushing it all out to the external and not self-validating and not self-seeking. Okay. So a lot of self-care is self-seeking. What do you even like? Yeah, probably a lot of people don't know. Okay. Colleen's saying it's so important. And right now it can be an hourly practice. Exactly. an hourly practice, a moment practice, remembering to do it, a forgetting for days and coming back to it. It's not like, it's ridiculously hard. You'd think it'd be a simple thing because it's sounds positive. So it's all positive. It's all positive towards yourself. We're seeking positive. When we're in toxic relationships, all we want is positive, right? We spend our lives grasping the few bits of crumbs of affection. We spend our time chasing that positive that we might potentially get, on and on like that. And yet when we think of doing it for ourselves, we start rejecting it. When we get a compliment from someone else, we reject it, right? So it's our brains get where we have to shift the mindset and figure out why we're struggling with self-care to begin with, so that we can change the beliefs around why we're struggling and then move forward. The topic today, Darla, is self-care. If you are, I forgot what I was saying. I'm going to keep going. Okay. I struggle with honoring and respecting my feelings. I'm just not always sure my feelings are right or valid. Struggling with self-trust. I know what a load of crap that is cognitively, but otherwise I struggle with it. Once I realize, mostly through others' wise counsel at this point, that my feelings are valid, I can do what I need to do in confidence. I want to get to the point of not needing to have others validate my feelings. That's kind of what I was talking about, right? Like as we practice self-care. Here's the thing. This is what I was trying to say. I remembered. As you're working with this, it's not comfortable. So it's interesting because you're doing positive things, but you don't feel comfortable doing them. That's super confusing. And then you think, why bother? Because it builds. And sometimes we have to feel the discomfort to understand what it is we're struggling with to begin with. Like, why is it hard to trust, to honor and trust your own feelings about something? Why is that hard? Because we've been taught that our feelings don't matter. We've been taught that we know why, but really when it's not comfortable, right? So you're just working on trusting, say you're trusting your feelings, and how you do that is by actually feeling them and saying, okay, there's that feeling, whatever you're doing to work with it. And then it's uncomfortable because you don't know if you're right or wrong. You start seeking validation. It's uncomfortable. This isn't comfortable. That's the point. It isn't comfortable. Self-care can be really great and a relief, and it can be like just the thing you need, and it can also be a real struggle. That's what's to me so ironic about it and so interesting to talk about with people one-on-one, because why is it so hard? Why do you feel you don't deserve something when everyone else in the world deserves it? Why are we willing to dump care into someone we know doesn't deserve it, like a toxic person? We know in our heads they do not deserve my focus or attention right now. Why do we do that? But then when it's the person who is loving and giving, and we know they have these good qualities, we don't feel we deserve it coming back toward us from other people, from the world, from ourselves. Why is that? Because of the programming, right? So we got to shift the programming. Is that going to be comfortable? No, it's not. So there's a million ways to approach self-care. And to me, I break it down into categories of life, or you can look at your whole life as a picture and where am I not taking care of myself? In which areas am I working too hard and not taking my breaks? Am I, in my employment, am I not focusing at work where I could be focusing and getting this done more efficiently so then I have time for myself? Where am I sabotaging myself there? Where am I, in my spiritual life, am I just not doing anything? Am I focusing too much there? How is my life out of balance? Things like that. So in other words, looking at all the areas of your life, or simpler than that, what do I do for my body? What do I do for my thoughts? What do I do for my emotions? What do I do for my physical? Oh, I just said body. What do I do for my spiritual life? That kind of thing. And there are ways to apply self-care to each of those things so that your life becomes richer in self-care and less narrow with all of toward oneself, right? We want to expand what we do for ourselves. I'm very hands talky today, so I put my hands down. I feel guilty when I buy stuff for self. Also, when I receive stuff, treats, presents, I'm like, thank you, so grateful. Like I feel I don't deserve it. And why do you think we do that? I mean, what is it about us that does that? And if you just, it's programming half the time. So listening to the beliefs, listening to the thoughts that come up when we feel guilty or ashamed or whatever we're feeling for receiving care or giving ourselves care, listening to the beliefs and working with changing those beliefs through affirmations, through restating the negative self-talk, through talking with a therapist or a coach, through things like that is all I can think of off the top of my head, to kind of work with the belief itself, to let that go and keep doing the stuff for yourself anyway. Do it anyway, even if it's uncomfortable. Self-care, you got to do anyway, even if it's not comfortable. It's how can you build muscle somewhere if you don't exercise the muscle? You can't. You can't. You can't go to the gym and say, okay, make me a strong, fit body and just stand there and stare at the equipment. It's not going to work. It's the same thing. Everything needs practice and exercise in order to get there. Our brains need repetition in order to create new habits. And those habits need to be practiced in order to create new neural pathways. So it's important to practice it and make it a lifestyle versus just, well, I got a pedicure this week and therefore I did my self-caring and I'm done, right? Or thinking that that's all you deserve is the one thing. You deserve every moment of your day to be focused on positivity towards yourself. That's what we all deserve, all right? Of course, negative things come up, and of course we have to deal with our darker things and our shadows and all of that, but why do we have to approach it with self-hate? We don't. All right. I feel like when I'm in a relationship, I lose myself to that person, and somehow just being with someone, I'm validated. And you see, this is another reason self-care is important. Self-care helps you gain self-validation. It helps you gain self-awareness and self-focus. And I understand that. I don't ever want to do that again, ever. Because I feel like that's the death of relationship right there. How can you relate to someone else as an individual, authentic human being when you've lost yourself? And how can they relate to you when they're only relating to some version of you or themselves? They're probably doing the same thing a lot of times, because it's like codependency, traits that lock together. So, hi, Vicky. So yeah, it's important, I think, to have healthy relationships, to understand this self-care as a lifestyle and as a way of functioning. You also attract people who do the same thing a lot, who understand it, who appreciate it in you when you do it enough. Okay, so before I read some tips on self-care, I'm just going to read self-validation. Good. I had some things bookmarked that I wanted to reread from older live streams, but just notes. I'll probably say completely different things anyway. Self-validation. How do you self-validate as a form of self-care? Hi, Belle. How are you today? Okay, Darla, include yourself in daily gratitude. We say that all the time, right? 3 things you love about yourself. What are they? Every single day. And I don't care if they're the same 3 things for a while. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're small things. It doesn't matter if they're silly things. It doesn't matter if you just sort of moderately like the things. Just get yourself in there and be grateful for this life that you have and the fact that you're the one living it, right? And that you bring something to this world, because you do. Pay attention to what you need from others and tell it to yourself. What do you need from a relationship? What are you gaining? What is it? What is it that you lose yourself to? Lose yourself to self. Fall in love with yourself, truly, in that same way. It's interesting. I mean, that's where self-validation and self-reliance comes from, right? Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Half the time we don't even know. We're just, I feel this, and we're all frustrated or whatever we're feeling, but we don't know what it is we need. So ask yourself, what do I need right now? And sometimes the answers are interesting. Actually, I just need to feel this, or I just need, ask yourself and listen to yourself. I treat people I'm with the way I wish someone would treat me, completely draining. That's when you start treating yourself the way you wish to be treated. You see what I'm getting at? You see what I'm getting at? You're answering your own question or your own struggle in this topic, because that's where you gain, not only do you gain self-reliance, you gain a huge awareness of yourself. You know what you wish to be treated. And instead of being sad that no one will treat you that way, treat yourself that way as best as you can. Find ways. And I have a bunch of tips here that might help you. 25 tips, and some of them might help you with this. Let me read through this first, though. Pay attention to how you judge yourself. We talked about this. I am in the middle of this right now. Oh my gosh, the judgment is like all day long, past 3 days. Why are you doing that? Look at you. Just look at you. Yeah. So pay attention to how you judge yourself. What do you say? And restate those limiting beliefs. I'm doing it. Okay. Restate them. You don't have to have giant glowing affirmations when you don't feel like it. Just have little tiny ones that are logical and disprove the negative belief. Does that make sense? So if you're judging yourself harshly, just flip it a little bit to something more positive and see what happens. Put yourself as a priority. This is what Darla's talking about. Put yourself as a priority. If you see yourself saying, I wish someone would, I wish I had someone who would. No, wait a minute. I'm the priority here for myself. That's it. Just, change that belief that somebody else can fix it for you and start fixing it for you yourself. All right. Not that we need to be like all alone with no other people around and completely self-contained. This is practice. It helps you relate to other people better. It helps you when you're actually in relationships to have healthier relationships, to be someone who knows how to as people who are somewhat codependent or identify as codependent or have codependent traits. Not diagnosing anyone, and not, just saying that that is what people would consider a codependent trait, right? As we usually are looking for people, or we're connecting or hooking up with people or becoming in relationships with people who are pretty needy or are completely avoidant, right? So, but there's something about them needing us that makes it feel like that we're valid and we have importance. But the truth is, you need you. What we're doing is turning away from ourselves when we do that, and giving it all to someone else in hopes that they'll do it back. When the simplest answer is just do it for yourself. Not in a I have to do this all for myself way, but in a freeing way that I can actually do this for myself. There's so many ways. Self-accountability, yes. Self-accountability is this. It's acknowledging that you have needs and that you can take care of a lot of these needs. And we'll talk about some ways to help with it in a bit. So, again, listening for the invalidating inner dialogue and turn that around. Notice your experiences and things that you do for yourself. A lot of times when we are doing for other people and losing ourselves, we completely lose ourselves. So to come back away from that, start noticing the things that you are doing for yourself. Okay, I'm going to move to a different page if I still have it marked. I don't know. What did I do? I did something. I got all mixed up. Well, we'll go over here. All right. So, self-discovery after abuse as it relates to self-care. So, let me read what you guys said. I'm well. Watched a live stream on holidays. It's very okay. Cookie says, if others are dependent on you, who can you depend on? You. Exactly. You can depend on you. Others can depend on you. You don't need to depend on people. We need to learn, I think, to be coexisting with people, really. To be reliant on someone because they are giving in the moment is great. But to be reliant on them and for every emotional need we have, of course, there's some dependency that happens in relationship, but codependency and enmeshment is not healthy. It's learning to balance that because you have enough self-worth and self-validation and self-care going on in your life that helps you have healthy relationships with other people. And when you think about it, if you have a friend who takes a compliment well, who is super appreciative when you do something for them, but never really emotionally needs from you, it's just an easy flow of friendship and happiness, is so nice. It is so freeing. So I want to become that person, right? I don't want to be the person who people think they have to take care of their emotions, and you know what I'm saying? So, okay. All right. Hi, Katie. Thank you. And hi, Kookie, the monster. Let's see. And Violet. Don't give it away. That's right. Don't give away your power. My therapist says I need to change my wording. Likely, then that's true. So what? Well, just because someone says it doesn't mean it's true, but likely, if that's what they're seeing, that there's some work there that you could work on. What kind of wording do you mean? And yes, that's what I was talking about with the changing of the way we talk to ourselves. It's huge. That's a huge piece of self-care. If you can just change the way you talk to yourself, you've done a massive piece of work on yourself to gain more self-sufficiency and more self-validation in your life. Okay, it's hard. Yes. We'll just get that over with. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard. Okay, it's hard. It's all right. It's all hard. It's okay. We're all doing it. Okay. So discovering yourself after abuse can be interesting, and this is a way to figure out how to apply self-care. What are your passions? What do you love? Do you seek adventure, and in what ways? What brings you pleasure and joy and happiness? What do you need? What do you even need? When I said ask yourself, what do I need right now? That's for real. Like, what do I need right now? It's really hard to even know sometimes. So that's the kind of internal, like, getting to know yourself. That's exactly what you would do for someone else. You'd be looking at them and you'd be thinking, what do they need? And you wouldn't even be thinking that. You'd just intuitively know, because as people pleasers, we intuitively know something that someone might need and we give it to them. We have to become that sensitive to ourselves. We're sensitive to how we feel. We're sensitive to the negative. We're sensitive to what we don't have and what we're missing, but we stop there and we lose the ability to know how to focus that same amount of intuition towards oneself. Does that make sense? And that's where changing your wording is huge. Your wording can affect your mood and how you feel about something. Your wording, we live our lives from the inside out. The lens we look through, the way we perceive the world, is based on our attitude that's on the inside. You can prove it. You're having a really bad day. You're feeling horrible. You've just been discarded, whatever. And you watch the funniest thing you've ever seen, and you know it's funny because you laugh every time and you feel nothing. That's because your inner attitude and your inner world is not in the space of being able to, you know what I'm saying, right? So, and you can prove it by you're in a light and happy mood and everything feels silly and happy. So changing the way we talk to ourselves is a huge piece of that, because our minds understand our minds understand the language that we speak, right? We understand things verbally. We also take in impressions. So a lot of self-care is about the impressions that you have around you, the impressions you have in your life. Like, do you seek beauty? Do you have toxic people around? Do you things like that affect everything. So, all right. Yes, you get blocked by your own thoughts and words. You get blocked, you get convinced, you're adding toxicity to your own world through your own thoughts. We got to erase that, change it, turn it around, all right? It's important. It's super important. Okay. And of course, that's not to say we stick our heads in the sand and pretend everything's okay. Of course, there is negative. I feel like we need to be able to hold the good and the bad at the same time, so that we're not so pulled down after toxic abuse that we start going into the trauma bond cycle, or we start going into the negative programming that has been put there that's not true. Okay. All right. So let's go to before I run out of time here. Yeah, let's go to 25 tips and ideas for self-care to get you started. All right. And let me know if there's any questions. Hi, Shastina. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so let's start. And let me know if there's any questions on self-care or how to apply this, or if this just seems ridiculous or whatever you want to say. It's all good. Okay, so number one tip is self-gratitude. Include yourself in a gratitude list every single day. 3 things you love about yourself. If you can't get there, 3 things that are positive about yourself. How about that? Okay, if you're like, I don't love myself at all, I can't, there has to be something positive. It doesn't matter if it literally is the tip of your nose. I don't care. Anything that you think is positive, and you can include the same things day after day. That's okay. You're building positivity towards yourself. You're reminding yourself and opening yourself to your own positivity, to the things about you that are good and positive and appreciate. You can appreciate. So you're learning to appreciate more than other people. You're learning to appreciate yourself as you do other people. Okay, so it's important. It's huge. Having gratitude for yourself every day. 3 things, and I would challenge anyone watching this to start doing this today. Right now, 3 things you love about yourself or are positive about yourself, and do it for the rest of the week and the rest of until the end of the year. See what happens, right? It's only a month and a week. You can do it. All right. And sometimes, Darla, when the negativity is so embedded in your thoughts, it can be very difficult to flip to the positive because it feels artificial. I don't know if that's true for you. I'm not talking to you one-on-one, but I'm going to make an assumption there just because for a lot of people that is true, that it can be really hard to make the flip from, God, everything just sucks, that kind of thinking, or like, I'll never have this. Everything is, like that really negative, dark thinking. It can feel artificial. It can feel uncomfortable, not authentic, not real, to then change it to something positive. I always say go incrementally and find something more neutral. Okay, everything's really not bad, because everything would mean like everything. And frankly, some things are just fine. And it can be simple things like, the food I ate was okay. And it doesn't have to be super positive. Work your way up. But the aim is to get to a positive place, right? Just know that, and sometimes it can feel artificial and you just got to let it. You just got to put it on anyway and try the more positive outlook for yourself and see what happens as an experiment, to see what happens. Yeah. It's whatever works for you to get you there. Affirmations can help, especially less personal ones. Reminders of beauty, and we'll get to that in here. So, okay. The way we talk to yourself, Lise, you worded it better than I did. Okay, good. I got it. Then we got it. Okay. We got it. It's true. And that's in here too. We're going to go there. So, and this is number two tip, Darla. Number 2 tip, seek simple joys or pleasures in life. Seek them out. Okay. And I have another tip on that, and we'll go to that. Simple things. Change your routine. Belle, what did you say? What do you said in regard to? I did this. It's difficult when it's not returned. I'm learning new ways while still being authentic. Sometimes, Darla, when there's one thing that you want really bad, like say the one thing I really want is someone to love me. Okay. Going right at that is huge. How do you go with that? How do you wouldn't even, at most likely, I don't know about you, but a person might not even be able to recognize it were right in front of them because we're in such a state of scarcity. So creating a state of abundance and I know when someone is being loving because I feel love all the time. And when it's coming at me, I can sense it. It doesn't mean they're in love with me, right? I mean, but I know when someone is expressing a loving thing toward me now, because I fill my day trying to be aware of my own ability to contain and hold a loving feeling toward myself and others. Okay. So, but I didn't go approach that by like trying to fix the problem. It was through these self-care tips that I'm giving you here that helped me change the attitude over. Huh? Okay. And is it all the time? No. Like I said, I'm dealing with judging right now in myself. So that's okay. I'm reading this and I'll feel better. Okay. All right. So change your routine. Something as simple as changing the way you drive from one place to another, the way you taking the routines that we have and just shifting them a little can sometimes give you a new perspective. What we're looking for when we are in a state of trying to change the programming, like what Darla's talking about, or when we're stuck in our beliefs about why we don't deserve something or things like that, what we're really needing is a shift in perspective. So learning to shift perspective just by changing a routine on purpose can sometimes help a little. That is a interesting form of self-care that can be fun to play with. Okay, pay attention. Number 4 tip, pay attention to a task you normally just completely space out on. Pay attention to what you're doing. That is self-care, bringing awareness to self, your actions, the life around you, the world around you, what you're doing, where your focus is going, all of that. That's huge self-care. Okay, that is learning to bring intention to things. Intention helps. Intention's what I'm talking about, what Darla's talking about right now. When you're negative, you're wanting positive, you're intending negative. Does that make sense? Because of the negative thinking. When you combine what you want with positivity, then or a positive intention, then your intention and your desires are flowing toward the same thing, right? You may not get them every time. You may not get that thing. It may not look exactly like what you want it to look like, but the journey there is much more positive, and the care for yourself starts, building. Okay. That was a little out there, but it's true. Okay. So paying attention to a task that you would normally totally space out on, doing dishes. I'll just take that. You might just paying attention, because you know what you start to see when you're paying attention, you start to hear your inner dialogue. If your inner dialogue is negative, if at all, change it. That's a time to work on changing it. It's a not charged emotional time. It's like when we're trying, here's another thing, like back to what Darla was saying. When we're trying to work with negative beliefs and we're only doing any thought shifting, belief shifting, affirmations when we are feeling horrible and we're feeling like super emotionally charged, that's like the hardest time. That's like starting mountain climbing, actually climbing a mountain and not training for it. So you got to do the training for this mountain climb of shift of belief through simple times when you're not actually emotionally fully charged. Okay. So it's often when we're spacing out and we're just doing something, if we pay attention to what we're doing, sometimes what happens, one thing that can happen is you're just really present to what you're doing. And that's awesome. You're just feeling the hot water or washing the dishes, and you're just in the act of doing the thing. That's great. That's super, like a mindful, present way of doing it. Another thing that can happen, so don't be surprised, is the negative talk starts as you're doing a thing and you're aware of it. You're not spaced out anymore. You're fully aware of what's happening. That's when you can work on changing it in a way that's a lot simpler. You can say, oh, here's that time. This is what I was warned about. Okay, this is happening. I can now think something, I can flip it to something positive. All right. When I start to shame and condemn myself, I try to remember my inner child. I would never treat a child like that. And I am that child. My job is to take care of. Exactly. You can also think of your best friend. Would you treat your best friend like that? Guaranteed no. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Violet. All right. Okay. Number 5, play. That's another self-care tip. Need I say more? Just go play. If you don't know how, make it up. Be silly. Do something silly. Do something fun. If you don't like that kind of play, play a game, play a board game, play any kind of play. Just play. Get out of the serious, emotional that's going on in your head and just play for a few minutes. If you can do it every day, excellent. If you can only do it once a week, just do it once a week. Hi, Kira. All right, number 6. Here, I know I told you to break routine. Now I'm telling you, create routine. Find a routine that you can put in your life that simplifies things, that brings order, that makes you feel accomplishment from start to finish. That can build self-esteem. It can build that feeling of trusting yourself that somebody mentioned earlier, that when they don't trust their feelings, learning to trust yourself from a task from start to finish can help just build trust for self. Okay. So it can do all kinds of things. So a little bit of routine, you don't have to get crazy and make your whole life mapped out, but a little routine in something where there is no routine where you could benefit from it can be helpful. Fix number 7, fix one small thing, tiny thing, fix it. And it feels good to have something fixed that was broken. Resist the feeling of one thing fixed, 6 things broken. I know that feeling. Resist it and say, you know what? I fixed the thing. The thing is fixed. Yay. Okay. Number 8, meditate daily. Mindfulness meditation is very, very, very helpful and scientifically proven to help heal your brain from PTSD. So mindfulness meditations calm your thinking, they calm the emotions, they bring you to the present moment, and they help you gain skills of learning to ground and center in your body through your breathing and through your awareness of your own body when you need it. So doing that 2 times a day for 5 to 10 minutes, excellent. Okay. Number 9, do one thing each day just because. Do one thing just because you want to do it. Something that is not illegal or damaging to yourself or others. Just do one little thing just because. It's fun. It breaks the pattern of who you think you are, and it lets you be free. So it's creating freedom. Question, is silent meditation as helpful as guided? I think it's an individual thing. If you can self-guide, then sure. I can't, so I don't. It just depends on the person. I think if you're a person, if you can stay focused and you can silently do that, then yeah, it would be as helpful. If you find your thoughts wander too much, or you're too distractible like me, or if you're too whatever you're not too, but you know what I mean? If your focus, if it works better for you to have guided, then do it. That's what I'm working on. Number 6. Okay. The routine. All right. What did I say? Number 10. Choose one tiny area and declutter it. Okay. That's a good form of self-care. It's simple. We know what that's about, the space around you. Creating an environment that is, a lot of this part has been about creating an environment around you that is both orderly in the sense that it helps you get from function in your life, but also brings aesthetic beauty around you so that you have a calmer and clearer space around you to exist in. Because as we talked about, our influences are super important. If you like a lot of clutter, then have a lot of clutter. But if most of us don't okay. Number 7. How about we just go to pets? All right. Number 11. Hey, guys. I know I heard it. I don't know who's here. Someone's at my door. I don't know who it is. Number 11. Unplug for a little bit every day. Just go no media. Go no texting. Go no people. Just tune out and be by yourself. I mean, not tune out, tune it off, turn it off for, I don't know, half an hour every day. Set a timer if you have to, which brings you right back to the apparatus or the what do we call it, the piece of technology, but unplug for, I don't know, half hour or so every day. Just take that time to be with yourself or with the people that you're around. All right. Where are we? Number 12. Do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. That's a fun self-care. Sometimes it's changing the way we talk to ourselves. That's super uncomfortable. But do it. Do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Safe, sane, and legal. All right. Number 13. No toxic people around. Okay. No toxic influences. You can start limiting. If you can't get away from your major toxic abuser, you can start getting rid of the peripheral things in your life that are toxic. I don't watch the news. It's toxic to me. I don't watch it. I can hear what's going on and I can choose and select what it is I wish to pay attention to, but daily media of that kind is toxic to me. So I don't do it. Okay. Not to say that I don't keep up on some things, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's the daily influence. It's too much. Daily influence of other people's negativity on Facebook. Don't look at their feeds, right? That kind of thing. All right. What are we saying here? A home you've created that is warm, welcoming, and lived in. Whatever works for you. Exactly. Okay. Let's see. Number 14, take a walk. Take a walk. If you can't walk, just go sit out in nature. Get outside. Sit outside a little bit. Be out away from the inside. If it's freezing cold, maybe it's just a 3-second walk, or maybe it's looking out a window away from, the life that's going on around you. Taking a walk takes you through life, right? It takes you away from where you are and moves you through wherever you are to somewhere else. And it gives your mind a chance to do that too. When we sit in one place and we are like doing the same, you know how it is when you're doing, like every time I sit at this desk, I think work and I start getting in that mode and that's where my head goes. And, I'm either trying to think of what to do or talking to someone about their life or whatever. I'm associating it with this place. If I go take a walk, I can release that and change my influences and my surroundings, as well as move my body through space and clear it. It's super good self-care if you can do it. If you can't walk, like literally sitting and taking in the influences of other, drive to a park. Even if it's too cold to get out of your car, just sit there and look at the park. It's better than not getting the new influences and that kind of thing. Okay. And then that goes to number 15, be in nature. Nature is very healing for empaths. It's very healing for all people, really, but empaths need it. Empathic people need the release of nature, and nature takes, a lot of us have a certain part of nature that helps us. Find what it is for you that feeds your soul. Okay. And number 16, what are we saying here? Walking blows off the dust. I like it. Okay. Number 16, exercise. If you cannot exercise, stretch. If you can't stretch, just squeeze your hands and exercise your hands. Whatever you can do, get movement in the body and exercise. Dancing, that kind of thing is super good for you, which brings me to number 17, which is dance. Really shake it off. Shaking it off. Dance is a physical art form that you use your body to express. It's so good for survivors. Even if you can't dance, just do it in the privacy of your own home and jiggle to the music. It doesn't matter. Shake around. It literally can shake off some of the that's all over you from toxic abuse. It's super healing, I think, to dance in particular, as yoga too. Yoga is more focused and has the order and the preciseness. Dance, you can do whatever the heck you want and it's expressive. So good for you, even if you can't dance. It's okay. Now my dog's coughing. Are you okay? Okay. What happened? All right. Number 18. Foods. Simplify foods. Eat healthy. Even if you can't eat healthy all the time, get some healthy food in your body. Your body needs it. It needs natural, vibrant sustenance that is healthy for it. Figure out what your body needs. We don't all eat the same diets, which are healthy for, I mean, every body is different, right? And I'm not here to tell you how to eat, but eating well it can change your moods incredibly. When I eat terrible, my mood is terrible. So I know that personally. It's not that, probably not that way for everybody, but for most people, eating healthy for them, whatever that means to them, and finding what it is. Also, eating things you enjoy, that are trying to find ways to eat what you enjoy in a healthy way. The flavors that you like, the textures that you like, so on and so forth. Okay. Number 19, learn to self-soothe. What is it that you need? Back to what Darla was saying. What is it that you need? I mean, physically self-soothe. Hug yourself. Give yourself a pat on the arm, whatever sensation that you need to feel, a squeeze. You can use your arms. I had someone do this. We had a dance class, and after the class, they had we sat around and everyone talked in a circle. We were supposed to be talking about like what we experienced in the dance class, blah, 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 and like what we gain, any intuitions that come, things like that. It was kind of, sweet. And someone decided to vent a story that's been weighing on them, and brought the whole thing down so far. It was sad. I mean, at first I felt bad, and then I was like, this isn't ending. I know what I would do, but and then sitting there trying to like block the energy because it was getting really negative. And somebody afterwards acknowledged them and said, thank you. That sounds like it was really hard. I think what we all need is a kiss. And she starts kissing her hand. She says, everybody do that. Just warm your hands up and give yourself a kiss. When's the last time you kissed yourself? It was so silly and so fun that people were either giggling or totally enjoying it. That's the kind of thing that, silly or not, it doesn't matter. It's what we need. It's the touch, right? And it's the acknowledgement of self that I deserve a little kiss on the hand now and then, or like just rubbing your hands together. Finding a tactile way to show yourself that you care. Hi, Daniel. Anyway, so when I saw that and I watched how it changed the mood of people, and I experienced it for myself, I thought, oh, that's really good. I hug myself all the time. See, if that just feels too silly, hug a pillow, right? Hug something, something that helps you get what you need. Hi, Don. Okay. Let's see down here. Where are we? Okay. Number 20. Okay, I can't read what I wrote here. Look at yourself without judging. Look at yourself in the mirror and don't judge it. Just look into your eyes and say, hey, and say something nice to you. Okay. Number 21, give yourself a treat. So that's the fun part. That's the fun self-care, right? Go get that manicure. Go do whatever it is you enjoy. Give yourself a treat now and then. Just do it. Number 22, use your sense of smell. Sense of smell is a super powerful way to access your emotions. And if you find a scent that feels like, yes, it smells good to you, but it feels like whatever it is that you want to feel, feels like happiness, it feels warm, it feels cozy, it feels whatever. Look at the holiday season, how oriented it is around smells and how much emotion it brings up when you smell the smells, right? It's all focused around it. Use that for your self-care. It is one of the easiest, simplest ways, especially even after like a discard or when you are at your worst. It's one of the simplest ways to self-soothe and to calm and to give yourself care. Okay. Number 23, comedy. Find out what's funny to you and go pay attention to it. Number 24, take a nap. I like that one. Number 25, become your best friend. What would that even look like? What would your best friend look like? What would they be like? How would they talk? How would they talk to, what are some things your best friend would say? Become that. That's back to the inner dialogue again, but like really become your best friend. This is one of my favorites. Number 26 is one of my favorites. I do this every single day. So try it every single day. Go on a scavenger hunt for joy and beauty. For real. Look for it. If you can find 5 things a day, write them down if you need to. I'm not a writer downer, but some people are. I keep them in my memory and I try and, okay. So if you've been practicing mindfulness meditations, if you've been learning to come to the moment, if you've been working on some of this stuff to be more present to what's happening and you see something really beautiful, notice it. Pay attention when you find something joyful or beautiful. Pay attention. That is what we're seeking. We're seeking this and we don't look half the time. So actually go hunting for it. Go looking for 5 things every day that are beautiful or joyful or something positive that speaks to you. Okay. It might be something that's really cool. I don't know, whatever it is, find something that feeds that positivity every day in the external world that you can notice, so that you notice you're on the planet, in a world with this enormous beauty around you. Right? Okay. Number 27, help others. Generosity can lead to gratitude. All right. We know how it feels to help others. And as people-pleasing types, we know how that makes us feel as well. Just add it in as a form of self-care. If that's all you're doing, maybe you need to help others a little less. Okay. It's just adding it in when when I don't know what to do. I just feel, when to use it, right? When that's important for you to be doing that. So it can help. Okay. Number 28, be present and honor the emotions that you're feeling. That's a tough one with self-care. We don't want to. We want to not be present to our emotions and say, but I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. That is not honoring it by saying, I don't want to feel it. We know you don't want to feel it. You know you don't want to feel it. Of course you don't want to feel terrible, but saying, I totally see that I am feeling all this self-judgment right now. What does that feel like? It feels like, gosh, that makes me not feel well. It makes me feel unworthy. Ooh, there it is, and then actually honoring that's just kind of how I feel right now. Okay. I can do things to help myself too, but I'm not going to run away from that feeling. Does that make sense? And I'm present to it. Doesn't mean I have to believe it and like hang on to it and then prove it's true all day long. But you like this topic better than last night, just saying, yeah, last night, I have to throw in the narcissist stuff. Have to do it. We need to keep the education going, right? But this is more fun and more important to me. But okay. Okay, number 29, and this can go along with 28, being present and honoring your emotion, is journal. Start journaling what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how your day goes. Talk to yourself in your journal, tell yourself stories, create in your journal, whatever you want to do. Gratitude, journal. It helps a lot of people. Number 30, choose who you spend time with and include alone time. Do you see how my self-care list has not a whole lot about actually pampering? It's kind of lifestyle. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's necessary lifestyle changes to help, not necessary, but effective lifestyle changes to help you completely. This is self-care as well as, I can't even think of the easiest, not easy, but the more, I want to call it surface stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I keep saying pedicures, but that kind of stuff. All right. And those things are important too. All right. Pets are important. That's number 31. If for a lot of people having animals around, if you don't have one and you enjoy animals, go to a dog park and watch the dogs and maybe get to pet a dog, or go volunteer and walk dogs or pet cats at a shelter, things like that. Okay. Number 32, I only have a few minutes here. Number 32, listen to positive feedback. When somebody's giving you positive feedback, just listen, hear it, take it in. Thank you. It guaranteed it's not going to feel comfortable at first. If you're someone who doesn't like compliments, try not to see them as compliments. Try to see them as positive feedback. I'm getting positive feedback. We seek validation and then we push validation away when it comes from the source that isn't someone toxic. What? No, stop. Take the validation. So if I were to say any nice thing to any one of you, just say thank you. All right. Positive feedback. Listen to it. All right. Your pet's driving me nuts. Okay. Or take a vacation from pets and send them to the pet sitter and take a pet, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? So just tips. All right. Number 23, connect with yourself. What is it that you think, you feel, you sense? What do you want? Like, start connecting with yourself. That's huge self-care. These are not simplified self-care tips. These are more complex self-care tips, but you can find ways to apply it. Like, how do I connect with myself? What do I want? What do I want to eat? What do I want to do? What do I want to do this weekend when I have a day off? What am I going to do? What do I want? What do I feel about that? What do I think about that? Get in contact with yourself. Okay. Number 24, take yourself on a date. It's fun. Do it. Number 25,